Because without my coffee, I'm a monster. Good morning, Blue Troopers. I hope everybody is doing well. The great elixir of life. So, a couple of things. I'm heading out to work today, going to be gone for 4 days. I'm not taking a road build with me because I looked at the schedule. They've got me bouncing all over the place. There's really not much in the way of a time gap except for one morning. And I might take my data for the Peerless Max video and see if I can get that put together, but I'll probably wait till I get back to do that. So there might be some content while I'm out, just some of my little cell phone stuff, but that's going to be it. It's going to be a pretty hectic 4 days. But like I say, when I get back, I've got a week off. So then we'll have some content, get cracking on that B-25. I've seen some of the work you guys are doing, really, really nice stuff. And remember that to try and get those pictures to me, say by the 25th or so that we can put it out on the September 27th. I'm waiting to see what my new schedule is going to be, so that'll have, obviously, for September, so that'll have an impact on things. It's possible we might need to get them in a little bit sooner, and I can schedule the preview premiere, but not a problem. We will, as we used to say in the Army, we'll blow that bridge when we get to it. One little interesting bit of trivia. I have built 2 of those 1/72nd scale Revell Gato class or Gato class submarines, and I have a third one up on the shelf. Those things have gotten expensive. I saw them on a couple of websites for sale for hundreds of dollars. I never paid anywhere near that for one. I think they're still making them, but anyway. I'd gotten a message from TD, and his son, Tom Daniel, his son Kelly Daniels has been doing some box art, doing the digital box art, but he's done some of the new releases. And but he was mentioning that one thing that he had designed was the stand for the big Revell 170. He said for the monogram Gato class submarine. I was thinking, I went looking through it, I don't remember monogram having a Gato class sub. I remember the Revell monogram, the small one, had the little dolphins on the stand. And the Submariner's dolphins, where like pilots have wings, Submariners have a pair of dolphins. So I went back and looked, and I was like, TD, I'm not, which kid are you talking about? And he sent me a picture, like, oh, the big Revell sub. He said, and then of course, Max, Mr. History Buff here, totally forgot that when Odyssey Partners had Revell and monogram, they basically took all the monogram molds, or excuse me, all the Revell molds, and made Revell go away, sent everything to, I believe they sent everything to Morgan Grove, but they had used the Revell name, even though Revell as an organization had gone away. In fact, it's a lot like modern day American Airlines. For those who don't know, there was a fairly small but very successful airline in the United States called America West. And when the bad times came some time back, and a lot of airlines were folding left and right, America West was able to buy the carrier that I contracted for, U.S. Airways by that point. So U.S. Airways had this big international presence and huge inside the United States. And but it was going bankrupt, and they'd been out of a couple of bankruptcies following 9/11, and so America West saw an opportunity. They were, this low-cost carrier that was actually doing quite well. And they were able to get the resources to buy the bigger company, U.S. Air. And physically being large, like numbers of airplanes, employees, doesn't mean you're financially healthy. Well, a financially healthier company was a small one, and they bought U.S. Airways. Combined the two airlines in a pretty bitter bloodbath of a merger, and they took the U.S. Airways logo and identity and made that their company identity. So it was really America West management and everything, and America West was running the show, but they were all using the U.S. Air imagery and logos and name. Well, fast forward a few years, more bad times come, as they're prone to do for airlines. And they wash, rinse, and repeat with American Airlines. American, despite being this world-renowned international carrier that's been around for about 6 or 7 decades, they were hurting for certain. And the former America West, now US Air, was able to buy them, and then assumed that identity, and merged the companies, and yet another bloodbath of a merger. And then now what we see is the big American Airlines, with all their people and assets and everything else, is actually run by the crew of that little airline, America West. So even though you see American Airlines, it's really the America West gang that's running everything, and but they are officially rebranded American Airlines, and they took that identity and everything, and have all the rights and all that stuff. Well, it was kind of the same thing with Revell and Monogram. Monogram had, we already knew they'd gotten all the Aurora molds, although they only, I think, ever used a handful of them. And then they got all the Revell, but Revell was a separate company. But the parent company, which I think was Odyssey Partners, went ahead and merged the two of them together by moving, which means they closed down everything in Venice, California, and moved everything to the Monogram facility. But they started using the Revell Monogram name, and eventually just made a Revell. But it was really, one could make the argument it was really Monogram. If you look at a lot of kits they're still making today, they're the Monogram kits. Well, went there to go here. TD, that big, he called it Monogram. It really is Monogram Gato class submarine. It just says Revell on the box. But that gigantic sub has this really excellent stand that it sits on. In fact, that was the first part of the submarine I built when I got it. I went ahead and put the stand together so I'd have something to hold the submarine in place while I was working on it. And I remember after I built it, and I'd never built one of Tom's designs. I knew him, I liked him, I just never gotten around to having one. So I built the stand, and I remember being impressed. Man, this thing is really sturdy. It's well designed, and it made building the submarine a lot easier. He told me the other day he designed that stand. Apparently, Roger Harney at Monogram had called him up and said, "Hey, can you design a stand for this sub?" And despite being well known for his kit model cars and everything, TD's still an engineering guy, and he was able to put that stand together. It's a very simple construction, but it's right sturdy. It's very well thought out. And I was like, so I didn't know it, but that stand for the big 1/72nd scale Gato class, which I built too and have a third on the shelf, was actually my first TD kit, or you could sort of say it that way. My first thing by Tom Daniel that I'd built. So in the wild world of modeling, you just never know what curveball history will throw at you. So I thought you guys might enjoy that little story. And if you've ever built the big Gato class sub, you know the stand I'm talking about. It's really well made. By the way, if I didn't mention before I get, just one more thing. No sooner had I compiled the Viewer 17 build than more pictures came in. I was like, okay, I just finished it. I'm ready to upload. I can't go re-engineer the whole thing. That'll take all day. So I have the first pictures for Viewers Build 18 showing up. So maybe next time I can get it done before we get, that's got to be, I think it's the longest one ever done at 31 minutes. So maybe I get something out before I wind up with 248 images. But a good time was had by all. Take care of yourselves, guys, and as always, model on.